Hey everyone, Clio here. It is Monday evening. I am starting the reading vlog. I know, I just cannot decide which day is going to be my starting point for the reading vlog, whether I'm doing weekend vlogs, week vlogs and things like that. I think my one attempt at a weekend vlog made me realize that, there's just too much updating I need to do or too much filming in the weekend that I need to do to be able to give you guys an interesting video. And so I rather spread it out throughout the week. So it's going to be week vlogs again for the time being. And I'm going to try now Mondays to Sundays, and then hopefully that will give me quite a nice time to edit this material and get it out on time without having to always do it last minute as I've been doing so far. So yeah, in terms of my reading goals, so in the month of February I have 5 books on my TBR. There are 4 full weeks, so my goal is going to be one book is going to be the focus every week, and then Don Quixote Part 2 I'm reading throughout the month. So for this week it's going to be The Ambassador's Mission by Trudy Canavan, but I'll talk to you guys about that one in a later clip because I'm cooking now and so I need to go and check on the water and stuff like that. So yeah, see you guys later. Morning. So it is Wednesday morning. It is raining outside, and it's always difficult for me to get out of bed when it's raining. I just love lying in the comfort of my bed, listening to rain. But okay. I am 150 pages into. Ooh, that's that's like orange suddenly. Come on, turn back to normal. I guess yellow is where we're gonna stick at. So I am 150 pages into The Ambassador's Mission by Trudy Canavan, and I've really been enjoying it. And so day one I read 60 pages or something, and yesterday I read close to 100 pages. So I'm flying through it a lot quicker, and part of me wants to kind of push that along for the rest of the week and hopefully finish this one on Friday evening. That would mean that I could potentially read a second book already within the first week of the month, which would be amazing. Part of me wants to be self-sabotaging and put a giant book into my weekends, but maybe I should just be smart rather than ambitious. So we'll have to see what happens during the weekend, I guess, with that. But in any case, I am 150 pages into this one. I will talk more about it when I'm actually awake, when I've got a little bit of a nicer camera angle. But I just wanted to check in with you guys a little bit about that progress. About to get up and go to work. Not me. Go to work is go to the room next to this one. But okay. Update time. So, because I haven't really talked much about my reading so far, I think. But so, I am making great progress in Don Quixote. So, I am already, it's a little bit difficult to say because the book doesn't start from page 1. But I am some 200 pages into this one already at this point of the month. And in total it's about 750 pages, a little bit more than that. So that's great progress because basically I'm only reading during the week, not during the weekends. And so I think I'll be finished the very beginning of the last week of February. So might even have a few days to spare for my TBR this month. And then I promised you an update on the Ambassador's mission, and I promised you that update 2 days ago, but so here we go. I am currently about 300 pages into the Ambassador's mission, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting so much reading done this week, and part of that is definitely due to the Ambassador's mission because I am definitely enjoying it. However, I will also not say it's like a new favorite or anything like that, and I'm missing certain things about, either I'm missing something about the first one, or I'm just misremembering things about the first one, because there are definitely certain things that I feel are missing in terms of the writing style, and I am very much enjoying some of the storylines, but not all of them. And actually one of the main storylines I'm not really enjoying that much is our protagonist of the original series, and so that kind of falls in with what I was kind of fearing with the series. I was kind of fearing that it's relying on that past series, but that I might want to see it just move past that I might have preferred for it to be completely separate from the original series. And so I do definitely have that experience now of feeling like I would have preferred for it to be different characters, because some of the storylines that have our past characters, because we are like 20 years in the future, they have changed a whole lot. So in any case, we need to be reintroduced to them and see where they are now. And I don't necessarily like what we're doing with some of those characters. And so in that sense, I think it would have just been stronger to have this story take place in that same world, but use different characters. However, I'm enjoying it so far. And so, as I said, the part that I'm liking the most is kind of the ambassador part to it. So we are following two characters who are going on a mission to become the ambassador and the assistant to the ambassador of a neighboring kingdom that's kind of the enemy of the first book. And there's not necessarily a peace established between the two, but I won't go further into that because that is part of the first trilogy, of course. But so that part I'm definitely enjoying, looking more into that society, for example, and so there's a lot more to explore there, and there's a lot more digging into the history of what has happened before the original trilogy that is taking place within that story arc. But we're also looking at the original place where Black Magician trilogy took place, and we're looking at two perspectives that we've had in the past from that same place, and storylines there, and those aren't really intriguing me as much. Those I kind of find to drag a little bit from time to time, but things are starting to kind of kick off there now at this midway point of the book, so perhaps I will fall in love with that storyline after this point in the book, because I'm quite sure that probably that's going to continue on in the remainder of the trilogy, or maybe a setting up for the remainder of the trilogy. But so yeah, so far that's what's happening here, but I've definitely been flying through this one. My idea was to be at like the page, my idea was basically that I was going to be here at the end of Friday, so tomorrow evening. My idea was that I was going to be here, and as you can see I am past that already. So I have been reading like crazy the past few days. I think today is going to be a little bit of a slower day because I am editing my vlog that needs to go up tomorrow, and I'm like halfway through the editing process at this point in time, so I won't have as much time to read as I've been having the previous day. So probably I won't be reading 100 pages in this in one day as I've been doing the last 2 days. But still, probably I can actually finish it on Saturday, which would be great, because kind of my goal with this month is one of the big chunky fantasies, or one of the big chunky books every week, and then I still have another book that I want to finish and that falls outside of that, but that's also shorter. And on that note, I do think that I'm going to be participating in Polarthon, even though it wasn't never my intention, but I've been reading so much because I've been joining in on the reading sprints for Polarthon, and as you know, as I've gotten into the spirit of Polarthon and people, you know, reading for their team, I kind of saw that there was a prompt book with a white cover, and then I was like, hey, I can totally read the Ambassador's Mission for Polarthon. I don't necessarily need to finish Polarthon, I can already just submit one book. But then I looked into it further when I saw that I might finish this book on Friday. As I said, I think now it's going to be Saturday, but in any case, then I thought I can also add Glasstown by Isabel Greenberg, which is the 5th book on my TBR. So this is a graphic novel, so I can easily fit that into my weekend if I finish this one early on Saturday. And so yeah, that is probably going to happen. This one would then fit cozy vibes because it's, I'll explain when I get around to reading that one. And then if I finish that one in time, I could even then dive into the Polar Bear Explorers Club, which is a audiobook that is about 6 hours long, and that will be the Polar Fantasy, and then I would actually finish Polarthon within this week.
In all of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth that could make bright our lives. In all of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth that could make bright our lives. All of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth that could make bright our lives. In all of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth that could make bright our lives.
Hey everyone! So it is Saturday evening, close to, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something. So I thought it's finally time for me to update you guys about my reading. So I did finish the Ambassador's Mission yesterday. So there were some like live sprints going on yesterday evening that I sought out, and then I kind of was moving over between reading sprints because I found this week that I really liked joining like the booktube community for this week. You know, it doesn't always work for me. Sometimes I want more reading within periods of time, so I want like longer sprints than that sometimes are available in reading sprints. So I've really been enjoying, by the way, the reading sprints that have been happening for Polarthon, because in almost all of them it's been like 45 minutes reading sprints, which is like more time than I need for a chapter, but I've been enjoying like going over the chapter mark and just getting a lot more pages done in one go, rather than just having a like 25-minute, 30-minute sprint. So I've definitely been enjoying that. So finished the Ambassador's Mission. Not many more thoughts on that. I would just say that I found the ending to be kind of anticlimactic. You know, a lot of times a book builds towards an ending, and I think in this case I was like 3 chapters away from the ending, and I was like, oh yeah, right, like we are approaching the ending, something big is going to go down, and I didn't really feel like that delivered on that, nor, as I said, it wasn't really building to something. So in that sense it wasn't really anticlimactic because it wasn't building and it didn't have that big moment then, but that also in itself was a little bit anticlimactic because I'm kind of used to that structure. but it was still interesting. I also didn't get like answers to some of the doubts that I was having, so there are certain things that I was expecting to see happen that didn't happen, at least not here, so that might take place in the later books. There's some characters that I'm not really sure we should be trusting or not, so that will be determined in the following books. And I would definitely say that one thing I am kind of missing here is world building, because this heavily builds off of the first trilogy, and so it kind of refers back to things we know about this world from that first trilogy, but it doesn't really dive into a lot more. There is like hints of something more coming, but it's basically just in one perspective, and so I'm really finding myself liking that perspective the most. It's also like the one new character to this world, so that might also have something to do with it. So that perspective I'm enjoying a lot more, and the possibilities with that perspective I'm enjoying a lot more than actually the character lines that we are having with characters we already had in the original trilogy. But yeah, it was relatively fast paced. I did definitely still enjoy myself, but you know, it's not on the same level as the first trilogy for me, and it's just gonna stay like an enjoyable one, but that's more or less it. But then I also dove into my second book, and so the second book that I read for Polarthon, it fits the prompt of cozy vibes, and that is Glasstown by Isabel Greenberg. This is not like your typical cozy vibes, I guess, because so this is a book all about the Bronte siblings, and so the cozy vibes I associate here first of all because we're looking at the Bronte siblings and their escape into a fantasy world that they're creating amongst themselves. So that whole idea of just like escaping into fantasy is really something that I find to be a cozy idea, but also just all of this is set around the Moors. So Moors play a big role within Bronte books because that's the reality they have lived in their life. And so even though that's kind of like harsh nature and, you know, like a dark atmosphere, that can also be cozy in a certain way. You know, it's cozy reading a book set in this type of atmosphere, you know, sitting in a warm house with a blanket, with a warm drink. So I think it fits. So I finished this one already today because, yeah, it's of course a graphic novel, so it doesn't take you too long either to go through it. And I really enjoyed it. So we're looking at Bronte siblings, but we're also looking at the world that they've created and the story that they've created within that world. And, you know, as the novel continues, we're kind of blending fiction with reality. And so all of this is kind of told from the perspective of an older Charlotte Bronte who is trying to deal with the death of her 3 younger siblings. And so I learned a little bit more about the Brontes through this. Not a whole lot. It's like if you want to know more about the Brontes and the life that they've lived, I definitely think that there are a lot better books out there that can give you a better picture. But this one can give you like a sort of like basic idea, and then you'll know if you want to dive into certain things more or not. And so I really enjoyed this book, and I think the atmosphere is rendered perfectly. I really love that whole blend of like fiction and reality, so I would highly encourage you guys to read it. I definitely think it's worthwhile. But so now I am basically just waiting for another reading sprint. So at 8 my time there's going to be another reading sprint over on Ash's channel from A Frolic Through Fiction, and so I think I'm going to continue my sprinting at that point in time. I have also started my third and possibly final polar fantasy or Polarthon book, and that's going to be the Polar Bear Explorers Club, which I started this morning, and I have like 4 hours or so of the audiobook to go with that one. It's not a long audiobook, so you know, it's like just over 6 hours or something like that. So that in principle can be my last Polarthon book, because if I finish that one then I finish off all of the prompts, but that does mean that I doubled up for one. So so we'll see if I feel like it. I might still read some more Polarthon books. However, on the other hand, I'm also thinking like I should use that extra time to read something physical off of my shelf, or you know, I should use that time to read some of my NetGalley arcs that I'm running behind on. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cost is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you try me? Ain't no way I could deny you. I could stray. Won't you kiss me? Ain't no way. Want you? Want you? Come and try me now. So come and try me now. I was never left I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you try me? Ain't no way I could deny you. I could stray. Will you kiss me? Ain't no way. I was never left
Hey everyone, it is Monday morning. I am wrapping up the vlog. So basically all that I'm going to be doing is saying goodbye to you guys because I don't think I'm going to be going in on my final reads for the weekend. I'm just going to talk about them. So I finished Polarthon with 5 reads. I was talking to you guys about how I wanted to get 3 reads. With 3 reads I was able to get all prompts done, but I was able to finish 5 books, and so I was able to get a book per prompt. So I'm super happy with that. I read like 1,800 pages this week. So I read The Ambassador's Mission, which I talked about. I read Glasstown, which I talked about. And then I read the 3 books that make up the Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell, which is a middle grade series all about like some kids that are going on an adventure as explorers in a sort of like Arctic setting. It's like a polar fantasy, perfect for Polarthon, of course. And so it's really cute. I really liked it. And you know, I think middle grade is so wholesome a lot of the time because it's not just adventures and things like that, but there's also a lot of like life lessons put in there, and you know, the way in which they're handled in here definitely I very much like, because sometimes they can feel a little bit too direct, a little bit too on the nose, but I like the way that they were handled within this one. I like that it was talking about, you know, issues of identity a whole lot, about issues of like belonging and acceptance and all of those things. And so yeah, I really enjoyed that one, but I'm not going to go into it too much because that will just slow down this vlog. So I woke up to a nice little snow blanket. There was already snow yesterday, but it didn't really stay on the ground. Now it's on the ground as well, and it's going to be freezing cold the entire week. It isn't going to go above 0 degrees Celsius, so I'm guessing that the snow is going to be here to stay, hopefully. So we'll have to figure out what happens with that. But so yeah, hope you enjoyed this vlog, and see you guys for the next one.